Hey, welcome. I'm Senator to press the button. To politics and well-being Christian. This is some things today we'll be talking about. Things kind of on president, well as particular president deploying police or troops, Portland, as well as is due to say Chicago to protesters, and so definitely. So this is where we're talk about. If you want to talk the latest tonight, had a question about black women riding her body community to a lot as well. Round of stimulus Mitch McConnell has and round of stimulus. You sound okay. Internet is cool, you move back and refresh. I cannot why. Back and refresh it, cause let me check it. Let's mess up. How about now? Better now. A second. Sounds better now. Put it in the chat if sounds better. I don't know what happened just then, because it could just be them. Okay, hold on. Bear with me, guys. Video. All right, how about now? Still the same? I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Can you guys hear me? If not, then I will just unplug my. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. First, welcome to Politics and Wellness. Of course, I am Captivating Christian. Thank you guys for tuning in. Okay, so real quick, we're going to talk about some things. We're going to deal with some mental health, of course, things
talking about Kanye West and his run for president and what you guys think about that. We're also going to talk about Mitch McConnell and his turnaround to now there's a possibility we may be receiving a second round of stimulus checks and what's that about. And lastly, of course, anything else going on in the news? We have Chicago about to look like Portland in the coming days. President Donald Trump has said that he will send his secret police, those same police officers that have been just rounding up protesters in Portland and actually putting them in unmarked rental vehicles and taking them God knows where. Um, so let's get into a few things. So first, like I said, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. It means a lot. So let's first start with stimulus checks. Why not? Um, let's put Kanye West in the mental health section. Yeah, right. But first, we'll start with the stimulus check. So Mitch McConnell looks like he's come around to wanting to have stimulus checks for a second round. The same majority leader, senator, who said that there was going to be no second round stimulus. I wonder what changed his mind. Well, I mean, we all know what. Well, most of us know what changed his mind, and that was the fact that it is an election season, and he saw that his numbers didn't look so clean. It's not going to be such an easy race for him, so he had to change his tune a little bit. So, of course, they are now negotiating a second stimulus round, and of course, he wants it to be less than the first one was, but of course, House Democrats are not having it. So we'll see how this one goes. I'm not really holding my breath at this point for that, only because a lot of people make promises during the election season that they don't follow through with. So this could just be a promise to ensure that people turn out and vote for him in his state of Kentucky. But again, we'll see how that plays out. Um, it's going to be a lot of back and forth. Congress is set to go on recess, their August recess, pretty soon. So I'm not sure if they'll be pushing out anything, in regards to a second round of stimulus checks anytime soon. But it sounds good, on TV and in the papers when you read it. Maybe that's what they're pushing for. But we'll see. We will see. Let's see. Hey. All right. So moving from that, because that wasn't a big deal. How do you guys feel about Kanye West running for president? Um, and yet he has an album coming out in the coming days. Um, Personally, I think it's just all for 15 minutes of fame. So, you could have his name on your lips or thinking about him, and then you see the album and you listen to it and you go from there. I personally don't think it's anything more than that. I don't know, but what do you guys think? I'm curious. I do believe he has some mental issues, yes. Some of the things he talked about, I have not watched it, but a friend of mine did send it to me. So we can all watch it together. If you didn't want to watch it, that's cool too. But someone needs to stay focused. Just a distraction, non-factor. Yeah, it is a distraction, definitely a non-factor. But the simple fact that he has people's attention at this point is a bit alarming. And he knows he does. That's why he does it. I mean, the excerpt I don't even really want to watch it personally. The excerpt that I did hear something about, he was talking about Harriet Tubman didn't really free slaves. She freed them to work for other white people. I mean, just it, it's just like you can't make this stuff up. Um, to the point where I don't know. I'm nervous about. Had a conversation about um, where our democracy is headed. Are we still in a democracy or an oligarchy? And I'm, things like that make me very nervous that we are headed into a place that a lot of us are not familiar with. Um, because we're at a point where fame can get you, like, cement you a place in running the country, or even being a focal point in something as serious as running the nation. Um, and all that we're dealing with right now, this is not the time to even entertain someone who is not fully capable and sound of running the country. It is utterly ridiculous. Um, what kind of wife does he have? She's not black. No, she's not. I don't really know what she is. I don't know what she is. I think they're Iranian or something like that, or part Iranian or something like that. But no, she's not. She's not, well, fully black anyway. Um, I think it's sad and funny. Uh, yeah, I think it is. It's sad, and yet it is funny. Uh, Started with the. Uh, Really, has she? I'm not surprised. I am definitely not surprised if she has started with the. I'm surprised she stayed married to him this long. I didn't even think it was going to be this long. I really just thought she married him because of his friendship with Jay Z at the time, and Jay Z was married to Beyonce, and she's always been one to, um, rub shoulders with influential people in the music industry and media, all aspects of things, from athletes to whatever she can get her hands on. So I was surprised they stayed married this long, but um, I don't know. It's really crazy. Uh, yeah, she definitely would have. You're right about that, brother Nate. She would have checked his behind if she was black. She would have checked him before he went on stage and even said anything as asinine as the clips that I saw that he said, and people was like, "Oh, I gotta go," because it's just ridiculous. It's sad and it's unfortunate. Um, Definitely, when uh, we just finished having 8 years of a president who was an astute intellectual, um, just all around good guy, as far as knowing, being a student of constitutional law, uh, knowing government as well as he did know, until you really never know the nature of the beast until you're in it. But um, so it's like, for you to even think that you can even compare to a Barack Obama is a bit. Yeah, I know some people call him a musical genius, and he lets that rock to his head. His mother was an educator, so I'm sure. I, I know he's no dummy, but uh, he definitely does not um, exude any kind of compass when it comes to actually conducting himself in a stately manner that I would consider not presidential, but just um, as a politician as we used to know them to be. Um, I think the age of Donald Trump has ushered in this different kind of politician, and everybody thinks, "Oh, I can be that," and it's like, no, no. I really just think that is just a niche. That was just a moment in time for this particular man, and my prayer is that it does not continue, because whether he gets elected for another term or someone else um, like him winds up coming into the fold somewhere in the future, I just don't think that our democracy will be able to withstand that. We are already in pretty much critical condition uh, as we speak when the elites and foreign influences basically run the country, and the president is just a figurehead, and he lets Russia do whatever, and there is no mention of any kind of retribution to what they are doing, from flying close to our borders in Alaska, and we having to scramble flight planes to, basically get them out of here, or hacking into our systems, whether it be voting, and now mail-in voting might become an issue. So it's a lot. It really is a lot. And again, it's highly unfortunate that we do not have a president that is forthcoming, and just capable of really governing. We have a showman, and we've had enough of showmen. I would have thought personally that the Republican Party would have had enough of the showmanship with Reagan, but apparently not. So I don't know. What are you guys saying? Hold on. Genius, nah. When his wife Kim K showed us that he isn't too smart. Well, I mean, people do call him a musical genius, but I don't know how much of a musical genius you have to be to really take somebody else's uh, backbeats and then kind of mix it up with some other songs, and you rap over it. I really don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. College Dropout, his first one was decent, but I don't really consider him to be a musical genius. It's just, I mean, whatever. But some people do, and that's what they look for. So I don't know. I mean, if this was all to sell records or to get his name out there so people can buy his stuff, I think that's sad and unfortunate. And again, with the state that the world is in right now, people dying every day due to this pandemic that this particular president didn't take seriously. You think we have time to even contemplate somebody else running who also does not take things seriously and doesn't have the aptitude to actually be a president? I don't think so. And personally, I think next what they should be doing is giving out tests. Like, you got to take this test before you even consider running. It's getting to be, because I mean, granted, politics is an avenue that anybody and everybody can be a part of. But I think the higher you climb up, there should be some sort of some safeguards, because we can't afford this. We are clearly at 3 million people infected. We're at 144,000 people have perished from coronavirus related situations. We are at 1% and change of the United States population with COVID. So it's definitely something to really be mindful and pay attention to, and nothing to ignore. And speaking of ignoring, you have even governors like Governor Kemp, my favorite person in the whole wide world. He's such an idiot. Suing the mayor of Atlanta because she is requiring the citizens of the city she runs to wear a mask. She herself has tested positive for COVID. So, it's real for her. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these managed jar politicians. They have not experienced anyone in their close circle catching it. and a lot of them may even feel that it's something that they don't get. It's just something that people of color may get. I'm assuming, um, because this whole, people getting upset because they have to wear a mask in a store. If it's store policy, it's store policy. But my issue, even with it being store policy, is that I don't understand why are some of these governors leaving it to the stores for the stores to say, hey, you can't come in here unless you wear a mask, instead of um, it coming from the top. Like you cannot go into any store without wearing a mask. Period. That's all you have to say, and just leave it at that. I think the level we're at, where you have an idiot for a president who doesn't really want to wear a mask until he is forced to wear one, and then he probably only puts it on for 2 seconds so people see it with him on, and then he takes it off because he feels it makes him look weak. Okay, would you rather look weak or actually be safe, or promote safety towards your fellow citizens that put you in place to govern? It's just really, it's really stupid. The mask, not only for your own protection, but it's protecting you from others. So I just think it's really important. We need not to overlook it, not to think that it's you know something made up. At this point, it is too late for second guessing, for conspiracy, theorists, and all of that nature, because there's bodies on the ground, there's blood in the water. It is quite serious, so we just need to be taking it seriously. Now we can talk about why he did not take it seriously in the beginning, why he didn't send scientists and specialists over to China to help eliminate it from spreading as much as it did. But at this point, it's at our front door, and we have no choice but to handle it accordingly. So to all of you and to all of your people, I just hope that you guys are doing your best to keep you guys safe, and not indulging in a lot of this, as Brother Wilson would say, fool la la with these people, because the numbers are climbing. The numbers are climbing every day. Although, it's hard. People are still, trying to get a vacation in and trying to do other things. But, be mindful that when you go different places, you are then exposing yourself to new people and new situations. So you may be fine at one point, then later on, things may change. So you might always want to keep that in mind. And I know it's hard or tough to, keep yourself sequestered home, or from home to work, or just home and getting food or whatever, but there's a greater purpose at play, and we just need to definitely please be focused. And truly, if people don't want to wear a mask, let that be on them. Let that be on them. Truly, if they want to, they want to experience what COVID is, let them do so on their own. But we don't have to contribute to that mess. I think that's ridiculous. Also, something else that just crossed my my mind as I'm sitting up here talking about that is this whole the Black Lives Matter mural that was going from city to city to city. At first I thought, okay, wow, people are really waking up and people are actually they're getting it. Now I'm starting to think that, yeah, you was just doing it because you wanted to stop the unrest that was going on, or prevent any unrest to hit your city. So the quick thing you thought was, okay, let's put Black Lives Matter on the street for a while, and then let's wash it off later. Because right now there's a county in California, in Los Angeles, the outskirts of Los Angeles, that had Black Lives Matter mural painted on their street, and now they're washing it off. They've even had requests that Trump supporters to put Mega 2020 on the street now. And for me, it's just it's just hard for me to understand how you never let people just have their moment. Like you must do something to outshine or overcast um everything. Like, you just can't let people have their moment where in which they're protesting against police brutality and just leave it at that. No, you want to be like, oh, now I want to put Mega 2020 on the street. What, like, there's apples and oranges. That's about inequality, police brutality, um, excessive force of a police department, which is overfunded, and a whole lot of things compared to what he's already the president. What more do you want? Like, what more do you want? What more is there? Um, it's just toast and crumbs, really. Yeah, I think so too. It is a whole dog and pony show, exactly. Um, I just don't. I mean, I don't really get it. It's like, what now you start to really think, like, what are your motives really? Are you really about um, injustices and reforming police departments? Because again, when the argument is to defund the police department, it is not to get rid of the police. It is to dismantle a system that is corrupt. I mean, every day I come across an article, whether I share it or if I just read it, that a police department in whatever city, whatever county, whatever parish has done something where in which they have shot someone, they have used excessive force, and somehow it got covered up. And then all of a sudden, here goes a drop here, a drop there, and boom. Like, obviously, there is a system at play that is used to keep people oppressed. And whether or not, you know, um, whether or not, or whatever color the officer or the people in the police department may be, the system is that of which it doesn't matter. Once you're blue, you're blue. That's all that matters. So if someone does something inappropriate, there is no one to speak up against the injustice. There is just, silence. And then not only is there silence in the police department, you have the prosecutors in the attorney general's offices of these states and counties who are supposed to safeguard the law for everyone and be unbiased. They have become watchdogs and protectors of police. And then, of course, we have judges in the judicial system who then also push and perpetrate those same things. You have tons of individuals. Thank you, Linty. Thank you so much for the super chat. You have tons of individuals who, some white, have committed the same crimes as some black folks, and they get charged less because some of the judges say, hey, I don't want to ruin their life. They have time to turn around and make better choices. But you'll give a person of color who've done the same thing or sometimes even less of an offense far more time. Why? Because you don't consider them to even be worthy of making a second getting a second chance or making a turnaround, because you want them to continue to funnel through a system which is of course an extension of slavery. When you realize you couldn't no longer have free labor in that regard, you just created, okay, well, we can make them slaves as long as we imprison them. And that's just what you've done. And it's just, it is what it is. And at this point, enough's enough. Like, you get tired. What do you think about the pulling down of Confederate statues and flags and painting Black Lives Matter over every city? Confederate flags and statues, I personally feel like they should have never been up in the first place. I mean, people can say heritage all they want, but it's just blatant racism is what it is to me, just for the simple fact that one, they're traitors against the United States. So therefore, that should be enough for an argument to where in which they should not be supported, but they are. So, and they're only supported because they're white. Because I'm pretty sure that had there been a Nat Turner uprising and we had flags and all of that and schools named after, and and his uprising was pretty successful, and it uh, ended slavery, and we celebrated that, there would be an issue for white folks. And not all, but some. There would be a huge issue for white folks. Just like I did a story today. There was a young man who was working at Lowe's, the Lowe's store, and he had on a Black Panther T-shirt. And a customer came in, spoke to a manager, and asked the manager to drop the to take the shirt off because it was offensive and racist. Now, how the hell can Black Panther be racist when it's a freaking fictional cartoon? It's not even real. So I'm confused. That's one. Two, if that was the case, and we're going to start to talk about how Black Panther, which is a fictional cartoon character, is racist, then let's start talking about how Captain America and all these other Anglo-Saxon comic book heroes or characters are then racist and offensive to people of color. I mean, come on, like, when do we take a seat, like, and just start calling things and stop like dancing around it? Like, I don't want to say it's racist, but it sounds like it could be. Are you going to sing the super chat song? No, I'm not going to sing the super chat song. No, I'll leave that to Duchess Kelly Love and Rebel Son and whomever else participates in his super chat song. But I will say thank you so much, Len T, for your super chat, and I definitely appreciate it. We appreciate it. But no. Let's see. That's the link. Think about you putting. Oh, yeah, I did that one already. Yeah. So I don't know, but I don't know what your thoughts are on the Confederate flags and situations. I mean, like I said, personally, I don't think they should ever been glorified and put up. They were put up because of Jim Crow, to further the superiority of one race over another. And definitely dealing with, listen, you were slaves, and although you may be free to an extent, I will always make sure that you will remember that you were that you are beneath us. And these statues and these schools that your children will go to will be named after Confederate generals, not U.S. generals, not military officers that fought in wars and died, but traitors against the United States. Now, what is that? I mean, how crazy is that? And the fact that we're sitting here arguing about that, and you have a president talking about Fort Bragg and all these other forts named after Confederate generals. Here you are, the president of the United States, and you're supporting terrorists, pretty much. Terrorists and traitors. I mean, and the only thing you can say about that is it's your heritage. And then, what you want it to be named? We can name it Al Sharpton. I mean, the fact that you even think that that's an insult, to whom, I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of other people you can name after. There's plenty of other military officers, men and women that fought in various wars that you can name these forts after, that served their country well, even in the midst of segregation and sexism and so on and so forth. So there are plenty of other people you could uh, name that for. But the fact that that's what you come up with, again, as a leader, not as just the president of a Republican Party, but as the leader of the United States, that's what you come up with, is absolutely like, where are we going? Where are we going? That's why I said that we cannot afford another term of this. If he wins another term, you could kiss democracy goodbye. Like, we'll be living like how Russians do. Next, he'll be talking about erasing the term limit on his presidency and being a president for life. Or he'll possibly be even talking about um, having the presidency inherited, to where in which his heirs will then be able to be a president, and there will be no election. So it's no longer a game. We're at the point where this is as serious as it gets. A lot of people don't like to talk about it. They don't like to hear about it, but it is what it is. It is very true. It's happening. Um, what can you do but pay attention and vote? Right. The United States of Russia. Right. And Russia don't even like us. Russia don't even like us, but they'll use whomever they can to dismantle what we have. And, the only reason why it's even being done this way and how it's even being uh, passed along and spoken about, even from uh, congressmen and women in the Senate, in the House, from me, and is of course always my thought, it's just because, what do Russians look like? When we see Russians, what do they look like? They look like them, right? That's the only reason why there's no pushback. I think if it was the other way around and Africa was the one pushing the agenda and doing all this, most of these people would not have the time of day, even would concern themselves with any of this. It is because that the Russians look like them. They are pushing that old, which I like to call Vladimir Putin, like a modern day Hitler almost, minus the concentration camps. But he does kill journalists, and he, kills a lot of people that don't agree with him. If you don't agree with him and, you're in his crosshairs, you end up out of here. Look at just look at what's going on even now with the Jeffrey Epstein and the people connected in that. You got the federal judge, her son has died, was murdered. Her husband is critically injured. You have some other people tied to it who are coming up dead. So there's definitely a lot of secrets and cover-ups and things going on. Almost like an episode of Scandal. We sit there and rewatch these shows and think, oh, that show was good. But to actually be living in a time and age where this stuff is happening, and every day someone connected to something is popping up, missing, dead, drowned, all kinds of craziness, let you know how serious and real this all is. Definitely much. So yeah, it's just really crazy. I just every day I just pray that enough of us are fed up with all of this and actually take the necessary steps we need to do to start to repair some of the damage that has been done, because most of the damage that has already been done, unfortunately, we won't be able to correct it as quick as possible. So that's an issue. They've already started connecting the other murders to the case. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Right. And it's like, well, the question is, well, why don't you want the people, like, what is it? Like, what's the problem? Like, what did he do? Who is he connected to? Who are they covering up for? Like, okay, if that man is dead, which I personally don't think he killed himself, I think someone went in and killed him. I think they killed him because he was um he was gonna tell, or they killed him to confirm that he would not tell. He wouldn't drop no names. He he wouldn't. So they made sure of it by you know ending his life, and now they're trying to come at anybody in the case that can pull um, some threads to uncover a lot of things that have been covered up. So it's just really, it's really deep. It's really crazy. Um, right. You wonder what Epstein has on 45. A lot of them. I wonder what Russia has on 45. Because I'm sure it's a shitload. I'm sure of it. Just because of the way he handles them. He never ever talks bad about Russia, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with his praise for how Vladimir Putin runs his country. He doesn't know shit about how Vladimir Putin runs his country. He never did. The only thing he knows about is the money that has been funneled into his dying, um, you know, little business that he's been able to make it seem as if he's made all this money due to NBC, flaming his fans of grandeur, which were never any. He was just an actor on the show, just like everybody else. So when you think, oh, you watching The Apprentice, you think this man is really business. It's a show. It was never anything. That's the reason why they started. Personally, I think that's the reason why they started having celebrities on it instead of actual people, because the people begin to realize, oh, this ain't shit. I did all this for nothing. I did all this not even to be hired into this big corporation like I thought it was, and it's nothing but a mom and pops. Like literally, if you took away the grandeur of Trump Towers and you just put a store front and an apartment above it, that's what Trump Towers is. That's where he lives. His business is down below. And he goes upstairs like Bob's the Burgers, and he lives upstairs. I mean, that's all it is. It's really like, and you fell for it. And you fell for it. So I don't know. It's just like I'm like enough is enough. Yeah, they killed him. The marks on his neck did support the finding. Yeah, I'm sure of a suicide. Yeah, I'm sure the marks on his neck did, because they used that little thin rope thing or that wire thing that they used to choke people out. I'm sure they did. Um, I'm reading. I do audiobooks a lot because I like to be moving or doing something else while I'm listening. So I am listening to um, his niece's book, and it is definitely, um, it's an account as if you sitting at the table. And like she said, I just, yeah, I listened to it on Audible too. I'm not finished yet because I'm listening to other stuff too, but I have started. I'm halfway through. It's a quick listen, but it is interesting to hear her account of things. Um, some things where in which we did not know, other things that we kind of sort of knew that. Even like with her, I think I'm at the point where she talks about haven't gotten into detail, but she's hinting about him using the N word and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not surprised. Look at prime example. Look at what's his name, Roger Stone, just a couple days ago when he was there on a radio show talking to a host, Mo Kelly, in Southern California. And they're having a discussion, and he's like, "Hey, man, listen, I also agree that, um, people lied or did whatever to look deeper into what the campaign was doing or what have you. But he said, I also know that you would not have been pardoned had you not had, your inner relationship with Donald Trump, right? That's all he said. That's it. That's all he said. And a simple, well, yeah, we've been friends for a long time, and I thank him for supporting me, would have been fine. No, this Negro mutters out his mouth. See, that's why I don't like talking to this Negro. That's why I don't like talking to Negroes like him, or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but that's, and then he's like, then the host is like, excuse me, I thought we were having a decent conversation. Like, come on, sir. Like, come on. I don't know if you've ever realized how they view you, but my hope is that whole interview let him really see how they view him. And I know a lot of times we like to think as people of color that being in those type of circles makes us feel like we've made it, that we've plateaued somewhere, that we've accomplished a great deal. And there are always moments where you get a glimpse that, no, you may not have gotten as far as you think. And I'm hoping for that brother that moment helped him realize as many people as he looked down upon as he ascended up to the Caucasus Mountains to dance around with those, delectable jars of mayonnaise, that when he was done with that interview, because he tweeted and said, I'm nobody's Negro, but you couldn't say that on air to him while he was talking to you. You waited till he hung up, and then he lied on air talking about some. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. He said you did call me a Negro. I did not say that. I did not say that. I think we're having an issue here with communication. After he paused for like a whole 10 minutes, and he's like, hello. Yeah, because he said it. He said it, and I personally think he said it, and he said it, and he was saying it for a reason, to let all of those people know in the base where they stood and how they support exactly what he said. I don't. It's just it was just. I mean, I can't. I really can't. It's just at this point, it's like, man, right. And they will never see us. No. And we have to stop feeling like, oh, we need you to see us. You don't need anybody to validate you. You don't need anybody to validate you. If they don't see it for you, cool. Keep it moving. See it for yourself. And we as a people have to get there. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's trauma from slavery. Or trauma from Jim Crow, or trauma from whatever. I don't know what it is, but there's always this sense of wanting to be seen and accepted by a group of people that don't see it for you. And I'm not saying all of them don't. No, I'm not saying that, but the majority, the ones with the power, don't. Majority of them with the power don't see it for you. So we have to start seeing it for ourselves and seeing it for our own people. And not to be quick to discount our own people because of some indiscretions that they may have. Because the truth of the matter is they all have indiscretions. So, we can't knock one for their indiscretions because the other ones haven't been discovered. Case in point, like, what's the gentleman's name? The dude in Florida who was running for governor, and I think he personally got drugged, but yeah, he may have, had the whole bisexual thing going on, but I think he got drugged, whatever his name is. I can't think, it escapes him right now, but him, once that happened, I'm sure plenty of people was ready to discount the man and just, call it quits and be like, oh, yeah, no, it's over for him. But the reality is a lot of these politicians are doing the same thing. They just haven't got caught yet. You got Lady G over there, Gillum. That's the name. Thank you, Patty Duke. Andrew Gillum. Yes. You got Lady G over there hiring male escorts by the dozens, okay, to the point where now they're starting to speak out and talk about um, him hiring them for particular events and things. Um, so it's not uncommon, but for some reason we vilify our own when they have indiscretions, and yet when the other side has the same indiscretions or even worse, it's like nah. So I don't get it. Yes, Lady G, he will never live that down for me. For the rest of his life, he will be Lady G for me. I think it's hilarious. Yeah, everything happens for a reason. That is true. Crucify Andrew Gillum had he been governor. Yeah, I mean they possibly, yeah, they would have. But my whole thing is, okay, well, if you was holding that on, if you was holding all that in for him to be governor, right? He wasn't governor. So then therefore, what was the point of exposing that? What was the point of exposing that? Unless the reason why you exposed it is because somewhere down the pike, you already know that this fool, um, gosh, why are these names escaping me? But the governor of Florida right now is going to something's going to happen where in which his whole administration is going to be questioned, and it may cause him to step down. And so you don't immediately think, all right, let's have a special election, let Gillum run again, and let him get in. You throw this out here. It's just something that it's not. It don't sit right with me, with the reason why if he didn't win, okay, so he didn't win. You just let him like everybody else does. Let them dissipate. They go and they do cable news. They do political commentary for the cable news networks, and that's it. Maybe they'll run for a Congress or a Senate seat in the state. That could have been it too. Maybe he was eyeing a Senate seat for the state, and it was like, oh no, let's drop the bomb anyway. So it's always something. Word on the street is Candace Owen was the one that Andrew Gillum finished. Yeah, and she's another one. She really is another one. I mean, granted, some of the things, I'm not saying that she's completely wrong, because there are some things that she does say in her opinion that, you know, make sense, but her overall, she's self-hating. And a lot of times people don't realize, and I guess this is where we'll touch in some mental health stuff, but people don't realize that hurt people. So she may have been hurt in the inner city she grew up with, always teased, always looked down upon because of, you know, how she dressed, what she looked like, because she wasn't like, you know, the other girls in the neighborhood, whatever reason. But because of that, she has carried that her entire life, which is sad, because at some point you figure you grow into a person in place to where in which, you know, those old things pass away. Well, they should. But a lot of these people carry these things into adulthood, so they become childish adults. You know, they never release that hurt, that pain from childhood. So they're adults, body form, but mentally they act sometimes as children. And yeah, that's deep. And you know, all the money she's gained from, you know, the Republican Party throwing it at her because of her black face, and to promote, see, blacks are Republican too. See, we're not racist because we have black people. Almost like that age-old adage, I'm not racist, I have black friends. It's the same shit. But when your policies are one in which they promote racism and things of separatism, then you have to check yourself at the door, and you can't just always use uh, Lincoln freed the slaves and he was a Republican. Yes, but the party was different then. And that needs to be noted. You can't just hang your hat on Lincoln was a Republican and that be that. It the party was different. The Republicans back then were about abolishing slavery. Okay? So case in point, the Republicans then were about abolishing slavery, right? Right. That's a fact. And you hang your hat on that, then why are you so gun-ho about waving the Confederate flag? And I'll drop the mic right there. I'll wait. Thank you for the super. Thank you for the Cash App. By the way, actually, I just seen it. My phone's the sound is off, so I just happened. But thank you for the Cash App. But yeah, that's my point. And that's the part I don't get. Like, if you hang your hat on the Republican Party was Lincoln and Lincoln freed the slaves, which of course you already know. Even when I did it on the gentleman's panel and the ones gotta stay, Lincoln was not my one because of course it was strategic in every way, but in the way of freeing people who you didn't feel should be in bondage in the first place. So that's my issue with Lincoln. Because if you didn't feel like they should be in bondage in the first place, then that should have been numero uno in what you were trying to do. However, you were losing, okay, the war. And, then white people, and no offense to my white brothers and sisters, love you too, but white people got tired of dying. Okay, and people were not like, oh no, I don't even want to go fight in this war because I'm not dying for this. Like, this is crazy. And so you needed to get some more bodies in them suits. And so your quick move was, hey, if I free the slaves because they're necessarily their property, but they're not property. So I can do that. I can take some slaves from people. We can give them freedom, in exchange for their freedom, have them, hey, sign up for the war. That gives us more boots on the ground. And because of that, you were able, the Massachusetts 54, you were able to do some great things and actually turn the tide due to a lot of these African American men fighting in the Civil War. But he wasn't looking pretty. It was definitely looking like he was about to lose. Did you ever watch The Real World X? If he hung the Confederate flag. No, I didn't watch The Real World when he asked him if he could hang the Confederate flag. Which one was that, David? No, I don't recall. Yeah, it is a web of lies. It is a web of lies. There is some truth in there, but it is always kind of covered up. So if you don't know, if you don't know the truth, you'll believe the lie, and then the lie is always pushed at you so much, to the point where, you believe it. Even look how the statues of these people are presented. They're presented larger than life. They're presented in a way that is so grand and so like it gives you a sense of, oh, like, wow, oh yeah. Oh, the season, yeah. I haven't seen that one in so long. I gotta go back and watch it. I haven't seen that one in so long. But I love Tammy in that season. That's really why I started watching it. She was a firecracker, and she let them have it anytime, anywhere. She didn't care. Oh, thank you, Lynn T. Thank you. But yeah, yeah, the Ohio Speaker of the House, like billions of dollars, $60 billion. What are we doing? And like, nobody was gonna say nothing. Everybody was just gonna let it go. And again, people feel like, I guess, um, every what I'm starting to see is that they all have this Trumpian thing about them, that they feel, as men of some sort of power, that they have the same, they can get away with the same stuff as Trump does. But you have to understand something that they're missing. They're missing that as the president of the United States, there's very little, if you have the right people, mind you, if you have the right people backing you, as far as an attorney general and other flunkies, there's very little people can do if Congress is one sided and the Senate is another side. There's only but so far, and if you have the support of one or the other, there's only but so far you can go. And to have the Senate in hand, you can lose the House, but you better not lose that Senate, because if you get impeached, as we've seen, the Senate then has the trial. So with you not having the votes in the Senate, that would be problematic for you. It would have been problematic for Bill Clinton too, but had the Bill Clinton had the majority in the Senate at the time during his impeachment, which I thought was crazy, for Monica Lewinsky. Now, I was a teenager when that happened. I just felt like, okay, that's his personal business. You're trying to mix his personal, private life with a moral compass as president of the United States. And if that's the case, then why don't we still have that same moral compass? Which we don't, because you look at this man and you like, oh, well, he's the president, so whatever. Hey, how you doing, sir? I will say this, of course, as always, just ask that you be respectful. You start with any fool you will get canceled. But
Hey,
what's up?
so can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
I can hear you.
I think that is great that you said that we have to vote for the Senate, because in Texas we've been out here passing out flyers and stuff. But I just think that people need to realize that the legislative branch is very important, other than the executive branch. Because so many people have been saying, "Oh, President, oh, Wiley, what if we lose what if we lose the White House?" I'm like, well, we better make sure that we take control of the House and the Senate, because when them justices get ready to die or retire, they confirm those judges. They confirm the Supreme Court, and also they help with the purse. So I just think people need to realize that Congress and the Senate hold so much power that you won't even realize. Even if $600 is going to end or probably ending, Congress and the Senate have to approve that because they carry the purse. So that's another reason why we should keep a closer eye on the legislative branch instead of keeping all of the focus on the executive branch. We in
Mhm.
my and this is me, keep the focus on every branch, city, state, local, everything. Keep focus on and keep that same energy, because if we don't, we will definitely be back at square one. Folks getting in there doing not what we want them to do, going against our interests and our community interests.
Right. Very true. Yeah, your local elections are far important, because that's where everything uh, gets handed down. Even people think that the president has a lot to say and do what happens in your state. That is absolutely not true. However, your governor gets to pick and choose what programs he will initiate or she will initiate for your state. So it is very important that you vote locally, that you pay attention to your gubernatorial races, that you pay attention to your local Senate races, your local legislative races, because they are important. Again, they make sure that you get what you get that belongs in your state.
Absolutely, that's what I'm telling you. That's, and another
Yeah.
job, another important job for bloggers is to talk about senators or Congress or state representative or city council and bring them on your platform and have those conversations. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, do not understand that. I talked to a lady in Florida. She said, Wiley, I don't know my senator. I don't know my mayor. I don't know any of these people. Then I talked to somebody in Houston and said, Wiley, thank you for having commentary on politics, because now I understand my mayor and city council and the power that it possesses. Because a lot of people, unfortunately, don't know. And if you don't know, go to Siri, go to Google, go to Alexa. They all exist to help you. So you have to use the tools to understand, because if you don't, if you're still living not knowing, then you're going to continue to get the same results. You have to get that knowledge and study these folks and say, hey, who's lining up with my interest and my children's interest? So let me vote them in office. It may be a Republican, it may be a Democrat. And let's get out of this mindset that just because it's D or R, I'm a vote. No, vote for people that's going to
Vote for
align
people
with
that's in
your
your interest.
interests.
Right.
Absolutely. That's
It's
how I feel
almost
about it.
like, like I always say, it's like buying a house or buying a car. You may not like
Right.
everything about that house or that particular car, but there's something about that house or that car that you like that drew
Come
you to
on.
it. So then you bought it. And that's the same way we
Yes.
need to do when we are looking at politicians. Yes, we have been a stronghold for the Democratic Party. And yes, at this moment, I can't see myself voting for a Donald Trump like person because there's nothing of my interest with the Donald Trump. However, um, again, you find what your interest is and then you
Right.
move according to that. You don't have to be pigeonholed to voting for one or the other because you feel like that's what we have to do. But what I recommend is that you don't waste your vote and not vote. Voting is highly important. We just lost the great John Lewis this past weekend, who fought for the right to vote, almost lost his life on a bridge because these same people that have now had children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren wanted to deny him access to even walking across the bridge to vote peacefully in a protest. So I mean, it's
Absolutely.
definitely ridiculous.
And also donate and give to candidates, because it's a candidate in Virginia, Dr. Webb, Cameron Webb is running, and people at first wasn't really donating, and then eventually he started doing interviews, started getting that social media presence, and they started to donate to his campaign. So you have to also use your money and
Yeah,
start creating your own super PACs as well,
right,
because you already know money is in politics.
but the politicians do have to be more they do have to be more visible, and definitely in this day and age where in which we are stuck in quarantine, and they have to start making themselves visible and doing more video chats and more town hall video things where they're talking to the people, discussing their platforms, and not just waiting for someone to ask them and interview them.
Right.
They should also be putting out platforms to where in which they're talking to the people themselves, because hey, we're all here. We're here. We're sitting here. We're talking. We're having dialogue. So therefore, they should be doing the same thing. They should be having YouTube channels too, where they sit up there talking about the policies that they want to enact for their particular state, city, or whatever they're running for. So I think that's highly important.
I think so too, and I feel like if you don't have a social media, what the hell, what earth are you living on? Because you have to have social media in this game. This is 2020, so everybody should have a social media, and you should know how to utilize your social media presence. And everybody should go on the show like Roland Martin Unfiltered, or like a online show or Fox show that is connecting with viewers online, and it's massive video blogs that have hundreds of thousands of people that follow them. You should connect with them as well. So you got to do everything in your power to possess your message. Just like Joe Biden, I personally believe that he needs to start connecting with Instagram, with the Shade Room, with Ball Alert, with Neighborhood Talk, and try to connect where the young folks are at to energize these people, because he's gonna have to vote. Folks gonna have to vote like they never voted before, because we are dealing with a pandemic, and there's gonna be a lot of
Right.
shady stuff going to be
It's gonna
going
be,
on,
yeah,
especially with the
it is.
mail-in ballot.
Right. It
Yeah.
will be. it will be. But we have to be diligent and still push through and persevere
Absolutely.
to still vote. Um, I do know that Biden had some people working on that, but he definitely needs to get the ball rolling because Trump, and that's another reason why Trump tweets every day. Trump tweets every day because it keeps him relevant. It keeps him
Very relevant.
of course, the stuff he talks about is irrelevant, but it keeps him relevant and in the media. Of course, because he's president, he gets the extra, push as far as anything he says, whether it be asinine or whatever, he still gets that push. The only plus for Biden is that he was the former vice president of the United States. So they will push a little bit of his things, just like they would push Donald Trump. But yeah,
But Trump been doing that, but even before he became president, he utilized social media. He dominated, even with the rallies and got his messages across. And I think that is
but the message, but we all know what the message was, and the message reverberated to the people who it was for, and those people, we all know who those people were. And yeah, there are some of our own
right.
people
Yeah,
who don't particularly care for ourselves. So that's another here nor there. That's a whole nother story.
absolutely.
That's a whole nother
But
story.
I'm glad that you had this conversation, and I came late because usually I catch you live
I
until
have
I
this
hit the
conversation.
notification bell.
I have this conversation every
But
Tuesday, sir. So I mean,
I know that. I know you do it every Tuesday, and I had overslept because it's a lot. I was watching the media, and they were talking about COVID and all that stuff. And I said, "Oh Lord," because they were talking about some vaccines are coming, and some people said, "Let's rush it," and I'm like, let's take our time with that.
right.
So, but thank you for this conversation. I definitely will come back on next week.
All right.
All right.
Thanks. Hey.
Hey, Cap.
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing?
Chat. Hey, I just wanted to know what your view was on Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her being sick again.
I pray every day. That's all I can say. I
I just
pray
wanted
every
us
day.
to send up, and I do want to ask everybody to pray for her because I
Yes,
need her to last
please.
at least until
I
December. You
please,
feel me?
please, every day. And every time they say she in the hospital, I'm like, I I hope that, and I'm pretty sure, but I know that there are some people at the Walter Reed who are like, we have to keep her. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to keep her
Yes, on
going.
oxygen or something.
And she is just as strong as she is to continue to press forward and fight everything that she has to still maintain a level of dignity. But I pray every day for that woman.
And like it could. I mean, I don't want to like belittle her
Right, right,
humanism,
right, yeah,
but it is a seat, you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
so we don't want to give them the power to take another seat and appoint
Right.
a person who has a lifelong
Yeah, appointment. Yeah,
appointment,
yes,
right?
yes,
You know
yes.
what I mean? So like that's like a major concern for me right now. It's
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
who would he appoint? Because you already had what was the other guy's name? I forgot his name, but the one that had came the last time and they had the whole hearing and it was a mess and a
Uh,
scandal.
gosh.
You forgot to,
Yeah, I did.
but
Uh,
he was appointed
yeah,
anyway.
right.
You
I mean,
know,
he was going to because of the Senate. That's why I'm saying it's important to have a stronghold like Congress, the Senate, the House of Representatives is important to
mhm.
have a stronghold there, but it's even far more important to have a stronghold in the Senate because they get to appoint the people that actually happen. Like they get to appoint uh the what is that man's name? Gosh, but the two justices, uh
Yeah,
Gorsuch and what's his last
the
name?
one with the scandal guy,
Yeah,
right?
is
I
it
forget his name.
is it Kavanaugh? Oh, what is
It was it Brett Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh? Yeah,
Kavanaugh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's who it was.
And see, even with everything he had going on, he made it through. And now, but he was in the best interest
Of Donald Trump, but what Donald Trump,
yeah,
and even he's mad still at this present day because of them voting against his agenda with transgenders in the military and abortion. So he's,
Right.
he's fuming because, and personally, I don't even think he's fuming because I don't think he cares. But his concern is making sure those white Christians aren't mad at him.
Right.
So whenever they're upset because the court went a certain way, then he gets upset. But
Can we say evangelical just for the sake of your channel?
okay, evangelicals.
Even don't do that.
No, they are evil. No, I mean, I agree. I
They're
think they're evil. They are
Oh
evil.
my gosh.
They're
I
evil.
can't.
And when they sit there and talk about Christianity and all that kind of stuff, I just look at them sideways because there's no way you don't have any
Like, what
kind of
part of
Christian.
Christianity are they talking about? With an upside down backwards Bible, right?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. At
Yeah.
that,
Mm-hmm.
at
At
that.
that. Mm-hmm.
And when people are suffering and stuff, and you're like, well, no, you can't come here. Or, hey, no, let's open the church. And no matter it's a pandemic, we're going to trust in God. And then the people dying like flies, and you still talking about what's up. Come to church. Come to church. As a matter of fact, how about you take your stimulus check and give it to me so God can bless you 3 and 4 times over? How? If he already blessed them with the stimulus check.
Let me tell you something, right? I don't know. Anyway, no, I ain't even gonna go there. But anyway, there was a
Please
little
do.
young girl that had went to the she had went to the church to the little
to the
shut in.
school. Mm-hmm. She sure did, and
And she
died.
had her. She went to the COVID-19 party,
She did.
and you know, it's one thing to have faith, but then you have to use wisdom too. And I think a lot of people that say you gotta have faith, they're neglecting the wisdom.
Wisdom, right?
You know what I mean? And
Right.
if you think that God did not create science, he
Right.
did.
He
He's the
did.
creator. He created everything.
Right.
So if science is telling you something and God is telling you, like you take vitamins every day or
Right.
herbs or whatever, God
Whatever.
created all of that.
Right.
But what you're going to say is, well, we're going to have a COVID-19 party and bring immunocompromised children into it to prove that nothing's going to happen.
Right.
Y'all know God had one sacrifice that was his own son. He never told you to sacrifice your children.
Right. Right. I mean, even this talk about and not to mention that both of her parents are trained medical professionals.
Were they?
Yes. One's, I think either the mother was a nurse.
Stop capping. No, they were not. They couldn't have been. It's no way.
No, yeah, they were.
No way.
Like, one's a nurse and the other one was like a nurse practitioner or something. I think the husband was a nurse practitioner and the wife was a nurse or something like either one or the other, vice versa, but they were medical professionals and they let her stay in the house a whole week and never took her to the hospital. And when they took her to
But you know what? One of my son's specialists is a nurse practitioner, and she's new. She's new to him for that particular issue.
Okay.
And he's been seeing some of his doctors. I have a special needs child, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and so he's been seeing some of his specialists over the last month. He's seen his cardiologist.
Mm-hmm.
The cardiologist said, "Don't send him back to school." Because when my husband took him, I told him, I said, "Make sure you ask the doctor about him going back to school because we're going to homeschool, in our opinion, but get the doctor's opinion."
Right.
So the cardiologist said, definitely homeschool. You know, he picks up stuff easily. He's immunocompromised. There's no reason to put him out there. So I took him to another appointment for another issue. And this new lady, and she's pregnant. And she's like, well, I sent my kids back to daycare. I don't see why you can't send your kid back to school. I said, well, based on his medical history, he's immunocompromised. He picks up stuff continually through the school year. He's taken 3 school years where he's always being sent home all through the year because he's picking up stuff. So I don't feel secure with that. And she was like, well, I mean, you can just send him to school. I mean, I can't tell you what to do, but I sent mine. I mean, we only had some staff that came down with COVID, and we had vacate the building, but they'll be going back as soon as they get everything cleaned up. I was like, oh, what?
But,
Lady,
I
no.
mean, it's
Lady,
ridiculous.
no.
Right. For one, we don't even know really how it's contracted. Two, if you sit here and say, oh, well, fine, we can send the kids back. Okay, have you cleaned the air ducts out? Have you cleaned the air system out? Have you done all these things to make sure that these places are safe? You're endangering kids. You're endangering teachers. You're endangering so many people. At this point, I think it's purposely done. Like they
But
want.
see, and another thing is that they're saying that kids have the lowest contraction rate, right? You have to think about it. Kids have been in the house since March.
Since March, around the same
And they
people.
started coming out, right. They started like they were with their families. So they started coming out in June, going to these little camps and stuff like that. And now all these little camps, right, are popping up with these high rates of COVID infections. And you got 82 kids over here, you got 51 kids over there, you got, whatever like that. So imagine a school system. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about like the people who did send their kids out to
Right.
camps and all this other stuff so that they can have their freedom or go back to work or do whatever. Like I work from understand not everybody has that luxury. But at the same time, you got to think about it. A whole bunch of people got to figure it out. I
Right.
figured mine out.
Right.
I quit a job to get a job where I could work from home, still make money, and homeschool my child.
Right.
Now, if you can't do that, you might want to change professions or do whatever so that you can at least survive.
Right.
Because in the grand scheme of things, the government was forcing y'all to go back. All these loans that they were giving for businesses to open up, that's what I work with. And I'm going to tell you, some of them loan terms were not the best for the business owner to open up. So you're going to see a lot of businesses closing.
Right.
So a lot of people are not going to have jobs.
Right. And not only that, you have to realize that these businesses are going to have to restructure. So you rushing people to get back to work, and they can't get back to work to what? They're going to be a certain amount of employees that they can only have at one time. So that means some people will not make the cut come, working. The hours are going to be significantly, and they're paid.
And that plexiglass is not working.
No.
It's just not.
No,
the plexiglass is not working.
No.
So,
still interacting or all that, it's not.
Right. If you still have to interact. So I think Zoom is the best thing when I go to work in the morning, I have a meeting at 7:45, I have a meeting at 8:00. I have a training on Thursday that's gonna be for another job from 11 to 7 because I'm gonna go ahead and take 2 of them because I got 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I actually have another one that really wants me for a position. So I'm good over here. I don't have to worry as much about what I'm doing over here and what we have over here. My husband works. You know what I'm saying? So we can work. We can get my son homeschooled. We can still bring income in. But everybody does not have that luxury.
Yes.
I feel sorry for them.
Right.
Y'all gotta pray for Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Please.
You have a man who's not so he's great at building hotels. That's his zhuzh. I'm not gonna say that being a president is his zhuzh.
Not even building hotels, just selling his name. But that's really all he does. He doesn't even.
Yeah, he's great at marketing. We'll say he's great at marketing. We have a great marketing. Yeah, we have a great marketing president, but it takes more at a time like this. So. But I really just came on to talk about RGB.
Yes.
RPG and to remind us that we have to keep her in prayer.
Yeah, definitely. Keep her in prayer. I pray for her every day, like I said. And this man he's making money hand over fist, and he's charging us. He's got the Secret Service buying all kinds of stuff that he's charging. Every time he goes and stays at one of his properties, he's charging us to keep him and the Secret Service. So they're making money still. Even
and every time they pass a bill, say like when they pass the bill for unemployment and they pass the bill for the businesses or 2 or 3 bills for the
he
small
got money
businesses,
for that too. He got money for that.
Right. Him, his law team, his
Hmm.
butlers, his maids, and also the wall are being paid for.
Yep.
Because the only way that he's even considering these bills is if there's a
They're
clause in it for the
for
wall
him.
as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
So
That's it.
when they write bills, they don't just write bills for what we see
Right.
or what we need.
Right.
Anytime
Underline.
they write bills that have, okay, well, if I give the public this, then we
Right.
need that on the
Right.
back end.
Right. Because
So
that
that little he's not taking his salary is $400,000 a year. He don't have to
he
take
don't
that.
have to take it. Right. Of course not. He's still making money. More than that.
Yeah, he's making money hand over fist. His daughter made $82 million last year.
Huh.
And how much of that is well over 400,000?
She took a picture with a can of Goya beans. Now they want to talk about she's endorsing. They're gonna look her up for endorsing that and see how much money she's making off of that. I mean, the patterns that she's gotten from the copyright patterns that she's gotten from China. Like, I mean, tons. They're making buku money. So yeah, the reason why they enjoy doing this is because they know they're making tons of money, far more money than they could ever make. Everybody involved in that cabinet is making money secretly. You got Mike Pompeo doing whatever dirtiness that the State Department has blown the whistle on him for months now, and he's been blocking it. So when that comes out, because we still don't know what it is, but all we know is that they've been reporting him and he's been shutting it down. So we'll see.
And not to mention Kelly Loeffler.
Please don't.
Don't not even and she's running. She's running for her life. She has to have a runoff in August. And I hope
Mhm.
that the Republican people get together and do the right thing. But not to mention Kelly Loeffler. She's been making money, mega, like she's made millions of dollars since what, February 1st,
Mm-hmm.
March 1st, something like that. As soon as they found out that the COVID was coming here, she started
That
making
was
all
like
kinds of money.
in February.
Yeah, so don't, I mean, anyway,
Yep.
anyway,
Spinning it too. But yes, thank
thank
you
you,
so much.
Cap,
Oh,
for
sure. No
letting me
problem.
on. I'm going back to the
Anytime.
chat and I have to charge my phone.
Okay,
So if I
anytime.
dip out for a minute, I'll be back, okay?
I'm about to end it out anyway. We've been on here long enough. But thank you so much. Thank you,
You're
thank you, thank
welcome.
you. Always a pleasure to hear from you guys.
You too.
All right. Yeah, the Senate is getting paid too. Let's talk about how China is trying to make Africa an extension of China and treating Africans like crap. Yeah, that too. That too. And I mean, that in and of itself is crazy. And then the Africans that they invited to China, they treating them like pure shit and making them eat outside, um, basically telling them that they have COVID and they're the reason that COVID came into China because of them. So they treat them like, no blacks. There was a McDonald's that had a sign that said no blacks. So when the McDonald's corporation caught wind of that, they then, of course, did the whole apology thing and, told them to take the signs down. But yeah, this thing is huge. And by all means, it is hitting every corner of every facet of our lives. We need to start paying attention. It's real out here. It is real. It is not a game. And yeah, I know sometimes we get on here and talk about stuff, go back and forth to kind of, I guess, change the atmosphere. Because, a lot of times people don't want to deal with real life and real world issues. But hey, I mean, if you don't, when you log off, it will meet you in the face. So we need to start coming together and really having these discussions and really talking about real things. And even if we disagree, at least we can have the conversation to better see different points of view and different sides. I may not agree with everything someone says, and vice versa. You may not agree with everything I say. However, at the end of the day, though, we are able to have a dialogue where in which we can at least find some common ground and some common interest. So I definitely find it highly important that we take this seriously. Our communities are at risk right now. You have a president who loves to, downplay and talk about Chicago. Everything is Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. But I'm wondering, and I truly think this, that the only reason why he goes so hard in Chicago is because that happens to be Barack Obama's place of origin, where he, ground roots, or even though he's not from Chicago originally, but that is where he came from as far as his state when he became the senator and then on to be president. So that is his focal point all the time, because that black man came from Chicago. Chicago is always his focal point. And like I said earlier, this week he will be sending his secret police to basically arrest people, protesters, or people that he considers to be people keeping unrest going on with the killing of George Floyd, the killers of names are escaping me today, so I apologize. But Breonna Taylor, the killers of Breonna Taylor are still free. Like, one guy got fired. There were three individuals who shot and killed that woman. And to this point, where in which her killing was a complete I don't even want to say if it was an accident, because it wasn't no accident. There was a reason why they were there, but they were there because it's a whole gentrification kind of scare tactic thing that they do to get these people out of these neighborhoods, to where in which they can move people in, rebuild, build condos, and change up the look of the downtown areas in a lot of our inner cities. But anyway, they killed this woman, and now they want to sit here and act like, oh, it was a mistake. We're just going to move forward. We'll give her some money and we apologize. We'll give the family some money and apologize, or not say nothing at all. That's total BS. They need to be in jail for murdering that woman. There was no reason for them to be there. There was no reason for them to do what they did. And now new evidence has come out that she was actually alive for at least up to 10 to 15 minutes, and they did nothing to save her. So at that point, basically, you let her die. So it went from an attempted murder to an actual murder, and therefore they need to be punished, period. They need to be punished, period, point blank. Yeah, he's going to wreck everything. Like, I'm just saying, people, please be careful. This man is definitely on the hunt, and he is not going to be satisfied until he likes to throw out this law and order until I'm the law and order president, until we are safe. And who is the we that he's referring to as far as being safe? I definitely believe the we he's referring to is not us, but his fellow people, until they are safe. And they only feel safe when we are, beneath the foot of oppression. So definitely, please, please, please stay focused, stay vigilant, because it's really, it's happening out here. It is really happening. But I just want to say thank you all for joining me. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone for your super chats, for your cash apps. I did see some come through. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for just being here and sharing your thoughts and comments. Thank you very much. This means a great deal to me, because, as you know, not everybody is talking about this, and some people just started talking about this just because I started talking about it, which is fine, because that's what it's about. As long as it's creating avenues and dialogues for us to have discussions, that's all what I'm about. So if we can just keep this going, this will be good. November is here soon. It'll be here soon. We are less than 100 days away, or like 100, almost 100, like somewhere around 100 and a little less than 100 days until election day. So please, we need to keep this going. Remember to vote, vote, vote. Go to vote.org to check your registration. Make sure you are registered. Make sure your address and everything is correct. If you do mail-in ballots, you can send for it now. Please be mindful to send for it now because there are issues going on with the Postal Service. The Postal General is looking to cut a lot of workers, not because of anything. Of course, he's saying for the budget and to make the post office last and all that. But he is a big supporter of President Donald Trump. He is a large Trump donor and supporter. So be mindful. Everybody has an agenda, and this agenda is to squash the vote. So by any means necessary, that's what they're using. So please make sure that if you do the absentee ballot or mail-in ballot, which is kind of sort of the same thing, make sure you send for that now. So you can be clear and ready for that day, because there's going to be a lot of foolishness going on. Trust and believe it. But anyway, once again, thank you all so much for showing up. God bless. Good night. Thank you so much. Peace. I'm out. And